All right, welcome everybody. We're sitting here in the man cave. I am BJ, aka Mr. Bowtie. I'm here with.
The nice one.
All right, and we are two live
Live
dudes.
dudes.
All right, today we're gonna talk a little bit, learn a little bit, and we're gonna grow a little bit. All right, so we're gonna start off today with our Black History Spotlight.
Yes,
You got that
sir.
for
Yes,
us?
sir. Back in 1906, one of our great poets was killed, and a lot of you all probably didn't know about him. I just learned about him myself.
Yeah, literally today,
Yeah.
he just flipped through the book. We picked this
You
book
know what
up
I'm saying?
and
His
learned
name
this
was
guy.
John Paul Dunbar.
Paul Lawrence Dunbar.
Paul Lawrence Dunbar, pardon me. He died in 1906. He was a black poet who was instrumental in making black dialect accepted library, a literary form. Died of
Tuberculosis.
in Canton,
They gonna think
Ohio.
we illiterate over
Oh
here.
man! At 34 years old, young man. Dunbar had. Dunbar was born in Dayton, Ohio, in June 27, 1872, to former slaves Joshua and Matilda Dunbar. So he had his mom and dad. Dunbar's father had escaped slavery and fled to Canada, but he returned during the Civil War to fight during the Civil War during the Confederates, and he fought against the Confederates with the Massachusetts 55th Regiment.
All right. So Paul Lawrence Dunbar, take a quick minute to discuss him a little bit. He was the first notarized black poet, man. Mm-hmm. And come from reading that, we just found out, I'm not gonna lie to you, just read it today. He used to sell his book in the elevator that he worked at for $1 because he didn't have money to go to the university in Ohio.
That only says that if you're trying to do something, you can get it done. And during that time, it was necessary.
Yeah, man. I tell you, you put your mind to it, you really want to do it, you see nothing standing his way. Man was a slave, didn't have money, still in history books today. Yes. Granted, most of us don't know about him, but he definitely was detrimental to where we are today. And all those black poets out there, this is the man who paved the way for you.
Yes.
So for those of you who don't know, man, this is our first official podcast we're doing today. So please excuse us if we fumble through it a little bit. Work with us. We trying. All right. But I do want to start off. We're going to tell you a little bit about ourselves, tell you how we came together, why we're doing this, and what we're going to do this for. All right.
Yes.
So, you want to start? Or you want me to start?
Go ahead. You flowing. I'll come in when it's necessary.
All right. So again, I am BJ. Originally born in St. Louis, man. Grew up in St. Louis, and people who know where St. Louis is, I grew up in Pine Line. My grandmother still lives there. Big gang neighborhood. Grew up there. Lived over in Kenlock a little bit. Lived over north of St. Louis in Pine Line, man. Actually went to Hazelwood East back when they didn't have walls. It's the weirdest thing, man. High school didn't have walls.
Wow.
Yeah, we had dividers.
That's poor, bro.
Everywhere.
That's real poverty.
Yeah, man. But man, today parents complain all the time. You hear moms complain, they ain't got money. I didn't know we were poor.
Yeah. It just seems like that's what it's supposed to.
Right. We had as much as everybody else around us. Mm-hmm. But luckily, man, my parents they thought enough to say, man, we want to do different and look out for the next generation. And they brought me down to Atlanta where I got to see things differently. Got new surroundings, learned a lot.
How old were you, dog?
How
old?
I was 15. Okay. So we
10th grade.
Yeah. No, 9th grade. End of 9th grade. Yeah, end of 9th grade. Yeah, I got held back a year, man. So end of 9th grade. I didn't get held back because I was stupid, man. I had behavior issues. We'll talk about that in another episode. There's some behavior issues.
Okay.
Yeah. And my mom was actually the one like, hold him back then. He'll learn. Mm-hmm. But came down when I was 15. 1999 exactly. It was the year right after the Olympics. Came down and started school down here, man. Initially, we was starting to do the same knucklehead stuff I was doing. I learned, man, it didn't make sense. Mm-hmm. And then later on, man, as of now, thanks to people I met, moved up to the corporate world. I do wear a suit and tie every day. This is why they call me Mr. Bowtie. You don't see it today, but I do wear a suit and tie every day to work. We do work in corporate America, and I learned how to weave through different crowds and be able to work from the streets to the corporate tables and sit in offices and talk to people.
Wear two hats.
Right. So this is why I'm here, man. I want to actually be able to give back to people and tell them, man, you can change. You can do differently. You don't always have to, be that ratchet all day, every day, man. It's ways you can use that to your advantage and go into that corporate world and move around.
Yes, I agree 100%. coming from where I'm from, Los Angeles, California, born and raised. My mother and dad were from southern Alabama, so I have uh,
Some real Southern
some
roots.
real estates out there as well. But I stayed in California to my 10th grade year. Los Angeles, to be exact, we moved throughout the city, because first my dad worked at a good job. He worked for Coca-Cola, and then he got fired or something. He argued with the boss and got punched him or something. That was told to me. And he got fired, of course, so we had to move into the hood.
Daddy was a G.
Yeah, dad was a G on so many other levels, and he was a crazy on some other levels. But yeah, so we moved to the hood, 7th and Hoover, and I stayed there for a while. Got into a lot of stuff from the neighborhood. That's why I wear the certain colors I wear. Let's put it that way. Anyway, so once he got another job, we moved around again. He had different girlfriends. My mom and dad had split up. I forgot to tell that part, but they split up when I was young, like 7, 8 years old. So, but he got arrested for something at a job he was working at a school. They say he was breaking in to a job he was working at. I went to foster care. Stayed there about 2 years, and then my mom sent for me when she found out I was in foster care. That's why I went to Alabama my 10th grade year. Stayed out there at in Saraland, and if you know that area, and then we moved to what was that area? Burrsville. Yeah, we moved to Burrsville. And stayed out there. Yes, country. But anyway, somebody we in the South, bro. So somebody gonna know.
You're right, man. But anyway, somebody else gonna be out there, man.
Yeah, I stayed out there, and it was country, definitely. But I learned a lot of good stuff out there. Had a lot of fun out there with a few females. You know what I'm saying?
It's always the females. I
actually married a girl from out there when I left my. When I graduated high school, I went back into the West, because I wasn't staying in the South. I was like, nah, bro. So I went to San Diego when I joined the Navy, and I was in the Navy 4 years. I did that thing for minutes, toured all over the world, seen a lot of places, did a lot of things, seen a lot of things, good and bad. We'll share that another time. Then moved to the A. That was my whole purpose of trying to grow and level up. I didn't want to get stuck nowhere.
What year did you come to Atlanta?
I wasn't familiar with San Diego. Huh?
What year you come to Atlanta?
1995. The bitter end of Freaknik, but it was popping still. That 95 Freaknik was probably one of the best ones in my eyes, because I was there. And started going to DeVry, DeVry Institute Technology. Met my kid's mom, i.e. wife now. So that's my journey, and this is how I got here, and where we at now is where we're gonna keep going.
Yeah. And man, so how we got it together, how we met, he's actually a barber, man, who runs is technically your own business owner. He works for himself, which more than I can say for myself. Yeah. But
that's my line of my business is barbering. I've been doing it for 15 years. I forgot to include that. I got a long story, bro.
Yeah, we don't have time for everything today. We're gonna talk about it, man.
I guess bio of it.
Yeah, today we're just gonna talk a little bit about childhood and where we've been, man. It was funny is I listened when you talk about you growing up and wearing the colors you wear. So you didn't say it, but I'm gonna say it. You grew up Crip neighborhood, right? You grew up Crip, right? Yeah. So anybody know where I'm from in St. Louis and Pine Line, man? It's all blood neighborhood. So
wow.
It would never been a time where we sat down and had this conversation.
Yeah, okay. the theme of the red and blue.
Yeah, man. That's really is, man. Okay. Red everything, man. My cousins probably slap shit out of me if they see me now, but they're like throwing up bloods and everything, man. They used to hate. No, you ain't doing that. Luckily, I had people looking out for me. But that means we're talking too long.
Yeah. All right, what's the subject of the day?
So I don't think we really had a subject today other than getting to know us. But man, something I do want to talk about since we got some time, man. We got another 8 to 10 minutes we're going to talk, man. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the state of the black quarterback in the NFL, man? They're now calling this year the year of the black quarterback.
I feel like it's just what's the greater thing is always gonna rise to the top, and they can only they've been holding us back and denying that we couldn't play the position for so long,
Right.
and then they had to accept a multi-racial quarterback to really put him on a pedestal to really embrace that concept that this is the future. And, you see who's coming out in the new draft is all black
Oh man,
quarterbacks. Oh well, it's
it's a few
few
white quarterbacks
white
that's going
guys,
to
and,
that.
and
I
they
mean,
still
Joe
ball.
Burrows, he
They
still
still ball.
probably be
I'm
number
not
one.
saying they can't ball too. I'm just saying we've been denied it so long. Now you see what could have been happening
Right.
before Vic.
Now
I mean,
they
yeah,
have to respect the black quarterbacks
yeah,
because
you
I
got to
mean
respect the black
they
quarterback.
were
So
there all these years, man. You know we had the Warren Moons, the Dante
yeah.
Culpeppers, the
Yeah, they were
Randall
scattered out, but
Cunningham's.
they wasn't
Yeah,
respected by the league as far as
it was
signing long
always
term. They
right.
had like 3 or 4 year
They couldn't be
contract.
leaders, and none of them were really
Yeah.
true winners, man. Even though like
Exactly.
some of them won games, nobody won long in the playoffs. What was it? Doug Williams was the
Yeah,
only
Doug
black
Williams, he
quarterback to win the
won
Super Bowl.
for the Washington
Yeah.
Redskins. Yeah.
So it was always, man, they're not leaders. They're not this. They're not that. So
Hmm.
it was always, man, so many black
Yeah,
quarterbacks had to
they
change.
mental concept couldn't
Right.
figure out how to read the
Couldn't read plays,
plays, and yeah,
couldn't
exactly.
defenses. It was always something, man. And the athleticism
And
and the
for it to
skill was
be
always the second thing. It was never the main thing that they talked about.
and for it to be 2020 and we still talking about the first black this and the first black that,
Right. It's
it just
crazy.
let you know, bro.
Yeah,
Racism and the deep core of the systematic design of it is still prevalent, and we gotta start destroy and rebuild, basically.
I mean, biggest thing though, we don't have any black owners in football.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So
saying.
we technically we're still the field niggas when it comes to football.
Yeah,
We're still the field
I
niggas.
mean,
We never make more than the master. We never make decisions.
name one more than who was the coach for the Pittsburgh
Oh,
other than him.
Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, other than him, where's another one?
I mean, well, no, they're black coaches in there, but it's only like four. But they all
Yeah,
on
but
terrible
yeah,
teams,
okay.
like
Isn't
the Browns
then you got to
coach.
think what's the level above that? GM.
Oh yeah, nothing. No front
And
office guys, nothing.
exactly.
Nah, they,
So
we ain't got
we
that.
got a long way to go, and I hope people who are paying attention and seeing things for the first time, I guess in their eyes, but I've been on this earth 45 plus years, so I've seen this story writing itself out a long time ago. So I just hope people wake up and really see what's going on, and then they are the change. Like if you're the main product of something, and you want to see change, then you can start with yourself by saying, no, I'm not gonna deal with that, or I'm not gonna tolerate that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Not only that, man, it's man, I see it all the time, especially in my generation, man. It, when the boom came in the late '90s and 2000s of sports money, really,
Mm-hmm.
really being there, millions, where you can take care of your family. A
Yeah.
lot of people in my generation became to where, oh, I want my kids to be athletes.
Mm-hmm.
We should want them to be scholars first, right? You're
Yeah.
gonna learn a lot more, man. I preached this to people before. Michael Jordan was worth more based on his brand and his name than he ever was on the basketball court.
We gotta
Like the
push.
Jordans and all those stuff, the stuff that he owns, he can put his name on, worth so much more money than he ever made while he was dribbling that ball. LeBron James too. All these great players who use their mind to push them further, man. We gotta teach our kids that, man. The books are first, man. The
Yeah,
field
that's
is
what I'm
good.
saying. Yeah.
Teach them it's a good way, but
Mm-hmm.
they don't own nothing. They don't own their jerseys. They don't
Yeah.
own nothing that they have when they're playing that game. So teach them to be scholars, man. Get them learning. They can be owners of the teams.
Yeah.
The XFL just coming out again this year. I don't even know if there are any black owners in that,
Hmm.
but we can start it. NFL
Yeah.
started somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Get these kids to
I mean,
become owners.
you have
man.
2 Chainz trying to do something with the little basketball league, the little he got an NBA basketball league.
I heard about
with
it.
With the Hawks. It's
like the G League.
G League, yeah, it's like G League for the Hawks. But you got to start with these kids early. If they like Jordans, then they need to see Jordan in the gym and all the work and hard work he put in to get to why he is Jordan.
Right.
Then they also need to learn if I want these $100 pair of Jordan, then I should say, hey, I want put 1 or 2 shares first into some Nike stock, or at least learn about the shares, of teach them how to make money while they spending money as well. Teach them the value of the dollar instead of just giving them money and saying, go buy this frivolously stuff, and that's not gonna hold any value. Teach them how to invest in themselves in a little small business, and detail and share that information with everybody else around them. Stop being so stingy with giving information out to these kids because they need it bad. Because that's why they out here breaking into everybody's stuff and
Man,
doing stupid shit
telling you.
because they don't have nothing else to going on in their life. So teach them.
Yeah, teach
It's
them, man.
us, and I'm trying with this. That's
Don't,
why we doing
yeah,
this. It's part of the
don't,
reason why we doing this.
I believe, man. Don't get the kids the stuff you didn't have, man. Teach them stuff you didn't know.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, man.
And you know how
I wish
hard it was
somebody would
for us
taught
to
me
get what we
finances.
had? You know what I'm saying? To get the new pair of shoes.
Oh man,
So, we need to make it hard for them like it was hard for us.
look, I didn't get my first pair of
Stop
Jordans
being
until I
their
was
friends.
21, man. And I could buy them
Yeah.
myself. My mom wasn't buying them.
Yeah, that's fact. That's when I got my Jordans. When I bought them my damn self. We weren't had no Jordans getting paid.
I was still wearing hand-me-down clothes, man. Whatever mama gave, look, this is what we got. Yes, man, this is what we got.
Yeah. In conclusion, hey man, this is the first one. We're gonna look it over. Y'all can look it over and judge us. Peace.